Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, okay, so let's catch up with you. So, are you a Schaumburg kid? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Caledon, but I've recently located, the last 2 years, fiance and I have moved to Schaumburg, so that's where we call home now.
That's Caledon's nice too. I mean, going up to Georgetown's like beautiful, but Schaumburg is really super nice.
Yeah, we like it here. Yeah, for sure.
Now, are you a big shot there? Like, are you walking downtown and just saying, hey?
I'm Mike Burke.
Yeah, Mike's thirsty. It's like talking to the third.
Do go to the local watering holes every now and then, but other than the odd chat, nobody knows who I am.
Well, it's great to have you on board. I've seen some of the clips, and what was playing in Rochester like? Because I've been an awfully good team. They got a great program. They've always been very competitive, and of course against the Toronto Rock, there's a lot of nasty that goes on there sometimes. What was that experience like?
It was great. The organization, they were open. They had me with open arms. They gave me a bit of a second chance in my career there, and I really enjoyed it. The fans, obviously, were great, and like you said, the rivalry with some of the Eastern teams in Toronto and Buffalo, those are great games to play in. So the whole experience this year was great, and for me, I think it's given me, a great opportunity to come here to Brampton again, my home team, which what I consider my home team, and be ready to go this season. We just finished our season last week, and we're already starting practices here in Brampton. So, it was a quick transition, and we're looking forward to getting started.
Mike, let's talk about that for a second. You mentioned that, the whole experience kind of revitalized your career. So how did you end up making your way to Brampton this off-season? And maybe give us a behind-the-look of what brought you to where you are today. And obviously training camp started yesterday, so you guys are full into it right now for the summer program.
Yeah, so I've been with Brampton basically my whole career, starting from minor, starting about 4 or 5, playing all the way up to the junior ranks, and since 2012, major ranks. So, I've been a part of that program for a long time, and proud to be a part of the program. I think, and no more proud than I am for today, because I think everything that's going on there, with our starting from our head coach to our players, to our management group, to our owner, there's quite a bit invested in this team. And obviously, as a player who's been here for a while, that's super exciting.
I was just going to suggest that to you, and you kind of brought it up there, but with the new ownership and the new feel to it, you talked about your career being revitalized. It's almost like the Brampton franchise has been revitalized overall as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a super proud franchise. There's a lot of families and a lot of players who have been a part of it. So, I've been stuck it out the last, I was proud to be in Excelsior since 2012, and we've had some rough seasons, but, it didn't, there's a lot of people involved who didn't, let it sway their opinions or leave or do anything like that. We all stuck around. So as the players getting a bit, older now and want to start competing at the highest level against, the Peterboroughs and the Six Nations, it's great to kind of be on that trajectory of getting back to that. Brampton in the mid-2000s and even the early 2000s and the late 90s were a powerhouse. And that's what I grew up watching. And I'd just like to get a little taste of that now. And I feel with a lot of hard work and, like I said, a good direction and a good focus, it can be achieved.
We're in conversation with Mike Burke. He is playing with the Brampton Excelsior this year here, talking with us on News Talk, Sauga 960, Raw Mike Richards. And what's interesting, we talked to Dan Teeth yesterday, and just where lacrosse sort of exists. And it's an interesting sport in that if you come from the lacrosse area, even though it is Canada, there are some communities that it literally rivals hockey, maybe sometimes a little bigger. I talked about Whitby, Brooklyn, I think they're still called the Redmen, or they could be. Peterborough has been a long time sort of hotbed for lacrosse players. And as you go across Canada, then you got Victoria, which is a massive area out in British Columbia for you. And when you look at Man Cup battles, the teams that you kind of face, It is truly, and some people don't understand just how Canadian it kind of is. Now, I realize originally sort of a native sport, but the reality is there is culturally a big sort of almost undercurrent of lacrosse where a lot of guys go south of the border, get scholarships on the eastern seaboard, a lot of those schools in the States, that it is maybe more prevalent in some communities than maybe with the rest of Canada really realizes, Mike.
For sure. Absolutely. A lot of those areas that you mentioned are the big areas, and that's kind of why the sport thrives there, because it's been a long tradition. You look at the traditional markets, it's tough for kind of a lack of a better term, like a startup market to really come and take over, because unless they have, somebody or a group of people who have been involved in the sport for a long time come in and kind of create the direction of where it's going, a lot of it is kind of passed down, and those communities where it thrives, and you see kids, who are on the bigger hockey teams, they're also playing lacrosse. So then you get some more of those athletes put in there, but it all starts with, kind of a history in the game. So that is definitely a main kind of challenge to get it bigger at the grassroots level in areas that's not a traditional market. And I know that there's a lot of people battling with that for a while, and that's what it's going to take to grow. Because if anybody actually spends time and watches the sport and gets involved with the people who are running it, it's great. And I played hockey growing up as well, but I couldn't wait for the winter to end and kind of the summer to start. It was a great breakup, and something to kind of take the focus off of hockey for sure.
Do you have a signature move, like when you score? Like, do you ride the donkey, or do you cartwheel? Do you have something?
Backflip. I'm a little bit more reserved, because like I said, I've been here for a while, so if I score, you might get a fist pump or something. But the NOL, for me, in the last few years, goals are hard to come by, so there might be a little bit of more excitement in the NLL than you do in Brampton, but this year I'm expecting some big games in Brampton where the goals are going to be meaningful. So you might get something a little bit bigger than a fist pump.
Yeah, because I think we really need that from you, Mike. This is what I'm saying.
I'm thinking, Mike, maybe even the worm. Maybe you do the worm.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen a summer lacrosse game. If somebody's doing the worm out there, I don't know if I'm going to laugh.
right in front of the goal crease too.
Yeah, all the burns like that.
I might not make it back to the bench after that.
Well, hey, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. By the way, Dave, when I first looked down, I misread the name and I put in Mark Burke, Brampton. Okay, do that and decide whether you'd want that guy on your team, because I'm telling you, you don't. You really, really don't. I said, are you sure? I don't know if this is a good guy to have as a team. And going, no, it's Mike.
Mike,
Oh, right. Yeah, I hope it's not cousin.
Much better being Mike than Mark.
Yeah, I know that cousin Mark probably isn't popular in a family. But, Mike, thank you so much. We're kind of pumped about this. I said, local lacrosse, and, I go back a long way, but my original town of Stouffville, Ontario, way back, they used to have the Stouffville Shamrocks. And I'm saying that's going back to like the 70s, when they used to have, just that concrete floor that was probably not a lot of fun. But I still remember as a kid thinking it was one of the coolest things I ever saw. They used to have, I don't know if you remember, this is going back to like the 70s, you may not remember, the Toronto Shooting Stars. And when global television was new, some people listening here today will know what I'm talking about. They used to put those games on, and they were that was the precursor to the Toronto Rock. And so, for those that want to see excitement, I'm just seeing now one of our followers on Twitch saying $15 for adults, $10 for kids. And I know this year you guys are going all out. So trust me, as I said beforehand, we just talked to Reese. We're all in. And we'd like to help out. So anyway we can help out the boys, you can count on us.
Thank you very much. In the Memorial Arena, we've got a lot of tradition. It's a great place to watch a game. Wear a T-shirt because it gets hot, but that's all part of the experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that, dude. It's just a little sweaty, but you know what? That's the way you like it. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Take care, and I'm sure we'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.